Hi everyone, welcome back, and my name is Rachel, and today I'm going to talk about my May TBR. So for those of you who are keeping track, today would be my fourth different location. I am at my parents' house in my sister's old room. She currently lives in Japan, but these are her books behind me. I told her when she left for Japan that I was going to be raiding her bookshelf, and she told me, go ahead. Obviously, she would love for me to read what she has. So as you will see, one of the books on my list is from her bookshelf. Now, as part of my May TBR, I am incorporating Tome Topple from Sam at Thoughts on Tomes and the Asianreadathon, which is done by Read with Cindy. I am modifying both slightly because last month I did horribly. I only read 2 out of the 6 that I had planned. But I did get all my homework done, and I got A's in both of my classes, so I'm counting it a win. On to the books I'm going to read in May. So the first book on my May TBR is a reread from my own shelf, and that is 6 Weeks by Mur Lafferty. And now this is a fun mystery in space with clones, and it puts you right in the start of the mystery from the beginning, which is a lot of fun. And I know that I have mentioned that I don't mind spoilers, but because this is not a wrap-up and I'm not talking about it, that's as much as I'm going to say, because getting into details for this book otherwise will spoil elements of it. So I am not spoiling anything in this TBR video. So the next book I am reading in May is a new release, and that is a book that has come out in 2020, and that is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. And I read the short story that this is kind of based off of a couple years ago. It was one of the short stories that was nominated for the Hugos, and it caught my attention, so when I found out this book was coming out, I knew I had to read it. I haven't read any of her other novels. They are on my to-read list. I want to get better about reading books that are coming out currently instead of reading 2 and 3 years back, so I decided to go ahead and get this book, and I'm going to read this first, and then I'll go back to some of her other novels. And now for the next 4 books that I'm going to mention, they are books that I have already started, but have not yet finished. First 3 are books that I had planned to read for the Owls, and so I did start them in April, but I planned to finish them in May, so I'm adding them back to the May TBR, and that is Riverland by Fran Walsh, The Redheads in Love by Dusty Rainbolt, Julia S. Mandala, Linda L. Donahue, and Rhonda Udali, The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. And then my other book that I am continuing in the month of May, I was given a couple months ago by a coworker, and I figure I should probably get it back to her, and that is The Library Book by Susan Orlean, which is about the Los Angeles Public Library fire and all the events surrounding it. The next 3 books on my list are geared towards the Asianreadathon. So they are books that are written by Asian authors. The first 2 I had taken out from the library, and so I already have them at home, so I figured I need to get them read before the library opens. And then the 3rd book is the book I'm reading from my sister's shelf. So the first for the Asianreadathon is Exhalation by Ted Chiang, and that is a collection of short stories. The last short story in that book has been nominated for the Nebulas. The second book I am going to be reading for the Asianreadathon theme is Dragon Pearl by Yoon Han Lee. And then the 3rd book, and then I will be reading The Bone Witch by Rune Chupeko. And I don't know a lot about any of these books, so sorry, I'm just listing them off and not giving a lot of description. And now for the Tome Topple Challenge. I am giving myself some leeway because in the middle of this time period, I think Sam said it was May 9th to May 22nd, I'm going to be starting summer classes. I probably am only going to read 1 tome, but I found 4 that would fit. Especially because she was like, hey, if you read 1, you're good, you win. So the 4 that I have picked out from my shelf, 3 are from the library, and 1 I have physically on my to-read shelf that I own. So for the 3 that I got from the library, the first one is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie, and this is the second in his First Law trilogy. Then I have Factotum by D.M. Cornish, which is the last one in his, I think it's a Factotum is the series as well. It's nice to see his sketches along with this story, so you get a better idea of what people look like. Just like a quick recap from what I remember, because I read the first books, the first two in the trilogy many years ago. It's about a boy named Rosamund who goes to be a monster hunter. And so the first two books are the process where he's at school and he's learning. So this third one, he is going to be out in the wild. Alright, so for the third one I have is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. And what I know of this book is the name of the magical city gets removed from everybody's memory. And so the main character is now looking for it and trying to find that name, because he remembers once knowing it. He's frustrated that he doesn't remember it anymore. That's all I know about this book. The fourth one that could work for the Tome Topple is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, and this is the second story in his trilogy, which follows Kavath. I've heard it said in many different ways, I'm not sure. And Kavath is the second part of him telling his story. And now the next three books I'm going to talk about. If you watched my previous classic sci-fi video, I was talking to my dad. He was really excited when I told him that I was doing this. And he's the one I got my love of sci-fi from. And so he pulled three that he thought I might like, and I haven't yet decided which one I'm going to read. So I'm only going to read one of these, but I figured I'd mention all three since I don't know which one I'm going to read yet. I'm going to leave it kind of up to my mood. The first of those three is Capital by Orson Scott Card, and I have read other science fiction by this author, the Ender series. Robot Visions by Isaac Asimov. Actually never read anything by Isaac Asimov. And then he gave me a book that has 4 H.G. Wells. And the 4 titles are The Time Machine, Island of Dr. Moreau, The Invisible Man, and The War of the Worlds. So if I chose to read H.G. Wells, I would just choose one of those titles and would save the rest for another time. So that is my mate TBR. So I'd love to hear what you're going to read. Go ahead and make a comment down below. And you guys have a great day. Bye.